Next Gen
And
fam.
we're live.
What's
Welcome
going on,
back,
everybody?
Happy Tuesday afternoon, family. We hope you are having an incredible week thus far. Jay, how you feeling today, man?
Y'all, we could not be more fired up for the guests that we have to share with the audience today. But we know a lot of folks are going to be tuning in, whether you're in the States, out of the States, catching at the end of the day, beginning of the day. We're pumped to have you joining us here. Shout out Grandma Rose. I know you are tuning in. Grandma Rose has been reading up. She got the book. She is pumped to join us here. We got a lot of entrepreneurs in the audience. DG, how you feeling, my man?
I'm so stoked. You know, talking about books, I can imagine Grandma Rose, my mom and dad reading Tough as They Come. I'm going to hold up a couple other ones I got handy because huge shout out to Jack Arbor, a mutual friend, making this happen. We got two of his right here. He's an author. He's an entrepreneur.
Jack Arbor is a legend,
for setting us up.
Jack Arbor's a legend. So if you don't know Jack, reach out. You need your wealth managed. You know, Jack's your guy. Hopefully we'll be getting in that direction very soon. Jay Reen, what's going on? Website 3.
We got some folks in the comments.
You know what's
Two
going
more
on.
shout outs I got to make. I got to shout out Craig, Travis's father-in-law, and Travis's wife, Kelsey, who made this all happen. Two of the most incredible human beings out there. I'm sure Travis is going to tell you more, but thank you for all you do and for letting us steal your guy for a few minutes here and share his story with our folks.
Amen. MD, what's going on, my man? With that, let's bring him on. Travis Mills, a recalibrated warrior. You're going to get to understand more about that term and what it means to him. A veterans advocate, speaker, New York Times best-selling author. Never give up, never quit is the name of the game. Travis Mills, let's come on to the Momentum audio stage. Thanks for being here with the Next Gen fam.
Man, I appreciate it. You guys are firing me up. How's everything today?
That's what we do, my man. We're here. We're just so fired up to speak with you.
I missed the memo on the ear pods. I should have brought mine. I feel like I'm just looking real funny with this big old ear muffs on now.
Travis, 2021, man, come on. But we'll give you a break. We'll get you some equipment for round 2. We run this back. But Travis, we're going to dive right in because when we were preparing for today's conversation, Justin and I found maybe the most insane accomplishment story of all time. So I need you to confirm if it's true, and if so, spill the deets. But we heard that a few years ago, at the National Science Convention, the space for science research presentation, you stole the show from none other than the science guy himself, Bill Nye. How the heck? Give us the details, man. Come on.
So as actually how I jumped myself into motivational speaking. The National Science Convention was going on in DC. Lockheed Martin reached out to have me on their stage, which is a smaller stage, but you had to walk past my stage to get to the main stage. And I was up there giving my presentation, and they said over 500,000 people came through in those 3 days. And they, as their way to like Bill Nye, they stopped and listened to me because I was so interesting, I guess. And I beat Bill Nye, the science guy, at a science convention. No offense to him, I think he's a wonderful guy, but that's how I really, dove into motivational speaking, talking about STEM and my prosthetics and all my cool tricks.
Live on video. I love that.
Well, it clearly worked, Travis. The spark that you began clearly has worked. We want to tell a bit of your story, but before we get to, I think, the more recent past, let's go to the beginning. You're in the military. You're coming from an athletic background. Talk to us about who that Travis was. Leadership, clearly, service, always important to you. But what were you thinking? What were the priorities in your life when you're playing sports? You're about to go into service. What was that time in your life like?
I mean, everything was going pretty well. I went to play some college football, and then I found out I like football, not college. And it was time for me to change it up a little bit. So I went to talk to the recruiters after my first semester of college. Joined the Army at 18. Enjoyed every minute of it. Did 3 deployments with the 82nd Airborne Division. My first deployment, I happened to have a medic that had a little sister who thought I was cute. But at the time, I can't blame her. I was 6'3", 275. I found these supplements in Germany. I was getting after it. And first time I ever met her, she was 18 in college, and I was 20 in Afghanistan. So we went to Cozumel, Mexico for a week as our first date, and then back to Michigan. I went back overseas, came back, we got married, and bought a dog. Pretty typical stuff. And we only were together like 17 days in person before we were actually married. And now it's like this June will make 13 years for us. So really exciting stuff there with my wife, Kelsey. And then I deployed for a second time, a lot more firefights and things like that. Came back, bought a house. My wife and I had our daughter, Chloe, who's 9. And I had orders taking me Fort Hood, and I didn't want to go because my guys were going back overseas. So I decided to cancel my orders and deploy with my guys to Afghanistan, even though the big army was like, hey, take this one off. You've had enough deployment time for a while. Like, why don't you go help build this brigade? And I said, nah, my guys are going. And I had a bad, unfortunate day at work.
Wow. Travis, that's unbelievable. And we're going to dive into that third deployment a bit, but I want to stay on the team and the camaraderie aspects of what you were building within the United States Army. I think it's not a secret to anybody who is a member of this nation, sees what the Army is capable of. It's a band of brothers and sisters, right? How does the Army facilitate that shared camaraderie? And we're talking to our next gen entrepreneurs who are building teams, right? What are some of the learnings and strategies that they can be applying to their own cultures today?
Well, I mean, in the military, there's not every leader is a great leader. Not everybody knows what they're doing, but they you get life lessons that you learn along the way. And I found out that the ones that I respected the most were the guys ahead of me that would do the work with you. Just because I was a private and we had to fill sandbags didn't mean that my leadership above me wasn't filling sandbags or helping out. And I always stuck to my guns on that. So I would do any job that we had to. It was never like, well, hey, I outrank you, so you got this job and I'm not going to do anything. I did my part. I helped, and I found out the more rank I got and I went up, the less sleep I got, the more work I did. And as much as those soldiers that were underneath me worked for me, I worked for them. And, it's that camaraderie and that balance. I mean, there's a balance. They say stuff rolls downhill. Like if I was having problems with my leadership or, something personal at home, I didn't tell my men that because they don't need to know my problems, but they need to feel comfortable telling me their problems and I'll try to fix it. So just kind of that mentality, I guess, as I got ranked in the military, and I got ranked really fast. Like I moved up in rank pretty quick because I was so good at kissing up to the leadership. Like I was like, first sergeant, I found this 30 pack. Like, and it's your favorite kind of beer. It was in the parking lot. Here you go. Or like, hey, captain, you want your car washed? I'm pretty good at it. So, I cheated my way to the top. Yeah.
And Travis, now clearly teams were always a big part of your life, whether it's athletic teams or family, very important part of your life. So teams, it was so important that you decided to not go with, staying stateside, but going overseas to this third deployment. And that is a catalytic event in your life. So talk to our audience, what was going down in that, set the scene, the context for us, and then what happened in the immediate aftermath, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I tell it, it kind of comes nonchalant, I guess, and I don't mean to, so I'll try to be more animated than normal. But my third deployment, I went overseas like everybody normally does. The first day in country was a huge firefight. Like second day was a huge firefight, and the third day was the same as the first two. We were in a really hot and intense area, and about a month and a half in, we got a phone call like normal from a village elder. Said he had some issues. He wanted us to come check it out. We said no problem, because people think we're over there just every day is just fighting. We're actually building schools and digging wells and giving education out and things like that, like teaching people like you don't have to live in mud huts and do nothing in life. You can be better, strive to have clean water and stuff like that. But having to go on patrol like normal, the guy in the front who had a minesweeper, kind of looks like a metal detector, was sweeping the ground, which we always did. He went over the ground not once but twice. He marked it safe. Said it came to a short halt. My backpack was about 120 pounds, and I set that on the ground. And as soon as my bag hit the ground, it landed on a pressure plate IED, improvised explosive device, or roadside bomb, and the bomb went off. And when I say pressure plate, that means a circuit was put together. There was metal ball bearings, and there was foam in between the ball bearings, and it was off of a battery. It was springs, but until the metal touched, it was safe. So the metal hit, detonated. Unfortunately, it tore my right arm, leg off actually automatically. They actually never found these pieces of me. I got thrown on the left side of my face, and when I rolled over and I saw the aftermath laying on my back, the right side was gone. My left leg, if you can imagine, your left ankle bone touching your left thigh, was going on. So like snap. This is a lot for your listeners, I know, and viewers. Sorry, but I was laying there, and my left arm was still blown out at the wrist, but I still used my thumb, index, and middle finger. So as I'm laying on the ground, I roll over, see the aftermath. My medic jumps right on me. My platoon sergeant, they put tourniquets on me. I look at them and say, hey, guys, you're not going to save me. Don't worry about it. Like, just save my guys. I had two guys yelling for medic that were injured as well. And in my line of work, unfortunately, I'd seen guys die for what I thought was a lot less injury. So I was like, no way you're going to save me. And in my head, I said, just stay calm. And I kept replaying the movie Saving Private Ryan in my head, where the medic is shot in the stomach. He cries out for his mom. He begs not to die, but ultimately he dies. And I always told myself, like, I'll never be that guy. Whatever happens, happens. And always exude confidence, always lead from the front, and never show fear. And I mean, I have a lot of things where, I probably maybe was a little crazy. Not crazy. I was just not going to live in fear. So as they're working on me, I'm telling Meg, leave me alone, just save my guys, it's fine. And he just keeps working. And I'm not sure what to do with myself. So I reached up, I had a microphone on my chest, a trucker mic, they called it. And I hit that on the radio, and I called my lieutenant. And I said, hey, 6, this is 4. I got guys injured. I need your medic with mine, because it's mission first, right? So medic Doc Voice came over. He worked on me, and worked on Ryan and Brandon, the other 2 guys that were injured. Then he worked on me, and they got me on a helicopter about 10 minutes after that. And as they landed at Kandahar Hospital and they started to push me into surgery, I kept trying to sit up. And the nurse, kept pushing me down. And I said, quit touching me, I'm fine. Like, leave me alone. And she's like, Sergeant Mills, I don't know how you're still awake right now, but you need to go to sleep. And they pushed fluids into me to knock me out. And I was like, I just need to get my legs back underneath me. I got to get back to my men. They need me. And she kept like knocking me over. About the 4th time, they finally like put me to sleep. And the last thing I said to that nurse was like, my little girl, I'm never going to see her again. Because my daughter, Chloe, was 6 months old at the time, and I might not wake up. Now it's actually dawning on me. And they put me to sleep, and then 9 doctors and 7 nurses worked on me for 14 hours straight, taking turns, 2 of them pumping air in and out of my lungs, which is, think about how amazing that is. They could have loosened one tourniquet on my arm, my leg, wherever. I would have bled out, and they would have been out called to the day within 2 minutes. But instead, they worked on me for 14 hours straight. They gave me over 400 units of blood, which is the most blood ever given in Afghanistan. And, it was crazy because they had to actually do a mass call over the whole entire base in Kandahar and say, anybody with A positive or universal blood, we need it right now. They ran out of blood in the blood bank. So they took it from their veins and put it right into my body.
Wow.
So that was like April 10th. So that's coming up actually. Saturday is my they say a live day. But they worked on me. They got me stable but critical. My brother-in-law was in Afghanistan as well, but not with me on this deployment, different part. He got the message of what happened, and he had to fly back into Kandahar because they thought I might die. And before you go overseas, it's kind of morbid, but 17-year-old that can go overseas, or 75, whatever, like you fill a thing out called a blue book, and you basically plan your funeral. It's real sad. Like, I'm going to be buried, in this place with, these items. Like, I would think I was getting buried, a picture of me and Chloe and my wife, and my wedding ring is what I wanted. I was having this music played. I was having a military style funeral. And the last thing is, who escorts your body home? Obviously it was Josh. He was going to take me back to my parents and his sister. And he flew in, and they flew me from Kandahar to Bagram on April 12th. And they took me in for a washout. And at that time I had only my left arm left, and the skin had necrotized. They found out, so it died. So they cut that off on the 12th. And then they flew me to Germany as a quadruple amputee on April 14th. I woke up in Germany for the first time. And when I came to, the only person in the room was actually my brother-in-law. And I looked at Josh, and the first thing I said was, my soldiers, how are my soldiers? Because it's always mission first, right? And it's about them more than me. They always eat first. They always sleep more. They always have what they need over what you need, because when the time comes, which it did for me, I need to be able to depend on them to get me out of there, just like they can depend on me. It's funny, I can remember a firefight we got into. I think it was like 10 clicks movement, like 7 or 8 different like real heavy engagements. I burned through all my ammo for the machine gun in my backpack, so I like loosened my load by like 50 pounds. And I was pretty excited about it, and it just randomly was my bag. And then one of my soldiers, Brandon, he was dying out carrying all that weight. So I said, oh, just give me your bag. He goes, no, I got it. He's like, about to pass out. He says, give me your bag. Take mine. So I reloaded my bag up, with all his ammo, because that's what you do as a leader. You step up and you carry the extra weight to a certain extent. If someone's really failing, you got to have that hard conversation. But anyways, on April 14th, I woke up, found out what happened, because I said my soldiers told me what happened, where Brandon and Ryan were. And then I said, am I paralyzed? And he said, no. And then I said, Josh, I can't put my fingers and toes. You can tell me the truth. Am I paralyzed? And he said, you're not paralyzed, but you don't have them anymore. And then I just said, oh. And for 3 hours, I ignored everybody. Doctors, nurses, Josh, they all had questions, but I had my own questions, right? Like, am I a bad person? Like, what did I do wrong in life to deserve this? How how can I be a husband and a father? Does God hate me? You know? And the last thing, it was like a real Forrest Gump, style scenario with Lieutenant Dan. I was like, why didn't I just die? And it wasn't suicidal. It was like, how is this better? Now I'm going to be a burden. Like, I'm the guy that helps everybody. And now I'm the guy that like needs someone to feed me. Like, imagine being a 25-year-old baby. And to make things worse, after 3 hours, I talked to Josh. He convinced me to call my wife and parents, call my wife. The only thing I said to her was, what's up? I'm fine. Love you. Bye. Didn't want to talk to her. Didn't want to have the conversation about what's going on. And then I called my parents and I talked to them about the same thing. But before I hung up, my mom yelled, hey, Travis, happy birthday. Because April 14th, which is next week, is my actual birthday. So I woke up on my 25th birthday to find out what happened. And 3 days after that, I made it to Walter Reed. As I was wheeled in, my wife came up to me and they gave her a clipboard, said Mrs. Mills' right leg split open. We have to cut 2 inches off his right leg or he'll bleed out and he'll die. But we need your medical approval because you're in charge of medical care now. So she had a clipboard in her hand. She looked at me and she was like, I don't want to deal with this, and gave it back to the doctor. Said he can bleed out. It's totally cool. Nah, she didn't do that. She signed it. The next day she came in and I looked at her and said, Kel, you don't got to do this. Like, you can take all we have, like the house, the cars, any money saved up. It's all yours. Take Chloe and live your best life. I'll financially do whatever I can to support you. And she looked at me and she's like, I thought about it, but like, I really want handicap parking. So I'm going to stay. No, if I'm being honest, at first it was obligation. Now I told her my social media following so big, I'll ruin her life. So she's crazy. No, I should tell you guys, and I know I'm rambling on. I should tell you I got the best wife in the world. And here's how I know this for all your audience. When my daughter was born, after 14 hours of labor, my wife and me are talking, and I'm like, what do we name her? Like, we thought maybe, I think it was between like Avery and Madison. And my wife from the hospital bed looks up at me with a heavy sigh and was like, we have to name her Chloe Lynn, don't we? And I'm like, you don't have to. Why do you think that? And she looked at me, made eye contact. She said, well, because you idiot, you already got your ex-girlfriend's name tattooed on your arm. So like, we named her after my ex-girlfriend, so my tattoo made sense. So that's, again, that's not my wife.
That's what you know.
Travis.
Yeah, that's a joke. My wife's great. My ex-girlfriend's the devil. No, check this out. I was playing college football, and she told me I should move home because she loved me. And the baseball coach asked me to play baseball at college. And then she told me she loved me, I should move home instead. So I did that. And then I met her boyfriend, Colin. And I joined the military because of that. So I've looked back and like, how did I lose my arms and legs? It's her fault. It's all her fault.
Travis, man, thank you so much for sharing your story. On behalf of all of our listeners, it is the chills, this feeling, this emotion that truly you don't find in your average day, right? Hearing you say these words. And I'd be mistaken if I didn't also highlight your positivity, your humor, your personality, and you are such an inspiration in the heat of the moment in a situation that, geez, I don't think I can even imagine. And I pray to God that, we don't have to relive that. You never have to relive that. You remain calm, mission first. You're thinking of, don't save me, go take care of my guys. Where does that come from, man? Were you always like that? Or is that a mindset? How did you possibly cultivate that strength?
Well, there's a few things. Like, at the end of the day, I knew it wasn't my choice to live or die, right? Like, it is what it is. I also thought if I freak out, my heart's going to beat faster, my blood's going to pump faster, and I'm going to lose it quicker. So I have a better chance if I just stay calm. And the only thing that was resonating with me is like, what's my last memory? What's the last memory of me going to be with my guys? Like, are they going to see me freaking out, begging not to die, saying I'm scared? And I just, in my head, is big and rough and tough as it is, I'm like, I ain't going out like that. No way. So I'm like, nah, they're going to be like, that dude was just chill. He was just like, hey, I told the medics, like, hey, whatever happens, it's not your fault. Keep fighting. You did a great job. Don't worry about it. And then I told you guys I didn't want to call my parents. I didn't want to call my wife on my birthday. Like, there was no way. But I told Josh, like, hey, find my unit's number. And I called my guys. And you see, every time, I appreciate you mentioning my book. I have a documentary out as well. It's called Travis' Soldier Story. It's done pretty well for me in 2014. We won the GI Film Festival. But whenever we go out on patrol, we get in a firefight, we'd come back to the gate, and I would run to the front, and I'd start singing the 80-second song and start singing like just a bunch of different things and high-five everybody in. And nobody could tell me to stop, even though they don't like songs are kind of annoying, because I outranked everybody except for 3 guys. So like whenever they were like annoyed or mad, they couldn't say nothing because like I'm like, I will ruin you because I outrank you. But it became like this really cool thing that I always did, and everybody just, you know, we had like the colonel and sergeant major out one day, like kind of just to walk around with us, and my lieutenant was like, "Are you gonna go sing?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go sing." He goes, "Man, the CEO's gonna kill you." I'm like, "I know," and I ran up there and I sang and everything. Well, on my birthday when I woke up, I said, "Josh, get my unit's number. I gotta call him, tell him I'm fine. Like, don't worry about Sergeant Mills. Like, get to the fight, and keep winning." And I called them and I said, "Hey guys, appreciate all you guys did. I got one thing for you." And I actually sang some through the phone to them. You know what I mean? It's all like 20 or 30 of them. So, and at that point, like some of it was a little facade, right? Some of it was like, I'm not going to show them how I'm actually feeling. You know, I'm not going to show them like I'm questioning, how can I be a husband and a father? How's my life going to go? How am I not going to be a burden? It was more, hey, focus on your mission. I'll be fine. And then at Walter Reed, I mean, I was in the best place for me, literally, because I learned how to use my hand, open and close it and rotate it, feed myself. In 5 weeks, I had an arm again. 7 weeks and 4 days, I had my legs, and I was walking on short legs, but walking again. I lost 110 pounds in 7 days. Like, it was crazy. And then, you know, I learned how to drive, and my wife and I and my daughter, now I have a son as well. He turns 4 in August, but he's a wild man, you know, and my wife and I were fortunate to have him, and she says we're done, but I mean, we'll never know. We'll see. But just, you know, life goes on, and my wife and I have been able to do some pretty cool things. I'm actually, I don't know what Jack told you. I actually own like a few businesses. I'm a part owner of sole owner of 4 businesses. I'm starting a brewery. As of right now, I got a brewery started, and I got another big company, probably gonna be a multi-billion-dollar company. I'm very excited about it. But
Travis, we're pumped to dive in. We want to hear about the businesses, the documentary, the book. And I know our next gen fam is going to be reaching out to collaborate very soon. From the second that this all happened, you made it really clear that you didn't want to be a victim, that I take care of others. People are not taking care of me. Can you help us understand where that value came from? Is that a military value, a background of yours? That is very clear from the beginning that you're not about the victim mentality. Where does that come from? And I'm sure that has shown remarkable rewards for the rest of your life now, the position you're in.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, just my background, my parents always worked hard. I always looked up to them, respected what they did. I always took care of things. For me, I wanted to be the same, right? My daughter and my wife was, you know, I pride myself to take care of them. And then I was laying in a hospital bed, having people feed me stuff. And I was like, well, this ain't going to work for me. And, you know, life's all peaks and valleys. And I tell people that. And what I mean by that is, like, in high school, right, I was kind of Mr. Somebody. Football, baseball, basketball, captain of all teams and whatnot. Then I went to college, and I found out the best position I played was this one the coach loved me at. It's called sideline. I was super good at it. That's where the coach left me. It was crazy. I was like, Coach, I think, he's like, you're doing great right there. So, all right. Yeah, but after that, I went to the Army, and I was like, worked my way up. And then I was somebody in the military, a staff sergeant. I was the youngest E6 in the least amount of time as an E6, but I was in the senior slot because I was pretty good at my job, which sounds funny because I was infantry. So like destroying the enemy is my job, but taking care of guys and leading from the front and stuff. But then I got injured and I was nobody. And then I started working out, and I brought a positive mindset down to the workouts because that was my job now, right? It was my job to get better. And at the hospital, they'd say, hey, look, you know, we love your attitude, Travis. Like, there's a guy upstairs who's just kind of down and out. We can't tell you his name because of HIPAA. We can't tell you his room, but we can tell you he's not in room 40 and he's not in 42. But it might be somewhere between there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not a Marine, so I know the answer because Marines are so dumb. Don't worry, they don't get my jokes anyway. They're like, oh, what? So then it turned into like, hey, Travis, you know, we have Private Johnson upstairs. Like, he's in room 42. Can you go talk to him? And then I did that for 19 months. I was the first person everybody talked to. And I'd work out with everybody. And then I got out of the military. And after 19 months of recovery, I remember sitting at my in-laws' house in Texas on the corner of the bed looking at a picture of me and just like breaking down. I'm like, who am I now? Like, I'm not Staff Sergeant Mills, combat leader of soldiers. I'm not, you know, Travis at the hospital helping people get better. Like, what am I going to do? And then I started speaking. My wife and I started a nonprofit that's going very well for us. And then I started some other businesses. And now I like to be seen as a businessman in the community, you know, someone that everybody knows who I am already because I kind of stand out in the crowd. It was really weird. I was at the grocery store the other night, and the sheriff was like, "Oh my gosh, Travis, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, really good." He goes, "Oh, we've met before. The mask, you probably can't tell it's me." I'm like, "I got my mask on. How do you not know how do you know it's me?" He's like, "Oh, I'm like, I'm kidding. Obviously, I got shorts on with prosthetic legs and fake arm and no arm on this side." He goes, "Oh," so he goes, "Yeah, that's how." I'm like, I get it, buddy.
Travis, you are the man. We
amazing,
so appreciate that. It is.
I tell jokes. It disarm the situation.
This is unbelievable, because for anybody out there who is facing a challenging situation, let Travis be a bit of that light. Of course, everything's different. I'm not saying you got to, apply his to get yours, but learn from the path you went, Travis, and something that is so clear to Justin and myself. You're thinking like an entrepreneur, right? You're applying the mindset, the mentality. You're saying, of course, when you're younger, building your life and thinking about, do I go to the Army? Do I sign up and enlist and go overseas? What is the path for me and what I want to build? And then in the hospital, I got to get better, right? I got these long-term goals. Of course, I'm going to walk again. Of course, I'm going to use my hand again. But you're living in today, the 1%. And I think that's such a powerful, living long-term, but executing today mindset and mentality that is so key to entrepreneurs. It's tough to not get caught up in the day-to-day and still have that long-term vision. So when you were in that recovery, who was teaching to this? Was that something that you just picked up on through the military, or did you have that structure to promote those 1% gains in the daily? Talk to us about that.
I think my biggest key to success, obviously my wife was by my side and she didn't leave me. And then her dad, Craig, who you mentioned earlier, we didn't really know, like Craig and I didn't know each other that well. Like I married his daughter. I took her to Mexico for some met her. They weren't pleased with me. But he retired from his job early, moved in with Kelsey and I in a very small apartment. And then we became like, he'll say it sometimes if he's on camera and he has to sound good, but we're best friends. And we hang out every day, play chess all the time. And he's in the room right now, actually. But the thing is, my daughter was the biggest key to success because I couldn't let her down. Now, if I didn't have Chloe, would I be the same person? I hope so, but I'm not sure if I would. Like my daughter and I learned how to walk together. My daughter was strapping on a wheelchair, and we'd drive around the 2 hours at nighttime, give my wife a break, and we'd go room to room, and I'd talk to people and figure out what's going on in their lives. And they called me the mayor of Building 62. But at the end of the day, I just told myself, she will see me fall, unfortunately, but she'll always see me get back up. And it's the most annoying thing to her now, because if she's like, I can't do that, I'm like, excuse me? And she goes, I know, Dad. Never give up, never quit. So I don't leave much excuse for her to say she can't do something. And, my son the same way now. But I think that having her there was a huge part of it. And, and we're really, really close. My daughter and I, and we go everywhere together. And now I'm the best storyteller in the house. My son always wants me to tell him a sleep story before he goes to bed. So we got this whole land of Millslandia and King Dad and Queen Mom and Prince Knight Dax, of course. And my medics were Daniel and Alexander. So my son's name is Dax after those two. But I figured I was trying to name Travis, but my wife said I have everything named after myself, right? The Travis Mills Foundation, the Travis Mills Group. And I'm like, whatever, dude. But, I will tell you that I do have a calling of service as well in giving back. So my wife and I, my father-in-law, Craig, we decided we should start a nonprofit while we're at Walter Reed. I was going on all these cool trips and all these great people doing great things. I thought, let me send some care packages overseas. And then as I was going on these trips, I learned how to downhill mountain bike and learn how to snowboard and learn how to go whitewater rafting. And I thought, this is awesome. But when I looked around, the trips were designed to give as many service members a chance to do it with the funding. But guys like me, Taylor Moore's on the quad, Adam Keys, the triple buddies of mine, had to take a non-medical assistant because I still need help getting my legs on and my hand. And they got to bring like their significant others. And I'm like, man, I'm only doing this to get better for my family. We should bring some families together and see how it goes. So the Travis Mills Foundation now brings out combat and service-connected injured veterans with paralyzation, amputation, spinal cord injuries, and their family. And we have a retreat that we rehab for like $2.5 million, maybe $3.5 million now. And we bring up 8 families per week, and we show them how to do things adaptively for free. They don't, no cost to them. And we said, hey, look, if you want to do something like kayak, canoe, horseback riding, whatever, we want you to make sure you're active in your family and active in society. We want to give you that chance to get out there. It's not just about the service member, it's about the spouse and the children as well. Because I won't be the same person without those key components of my life. And it's gone so well that we've, gained one of the top 25 veteran nonprofits in the nation. And I don't take a dime. Me and Kelsey never will take a dime. Like, it's not about us because we started to get paid. And just very proud of the progress. And we also have a post-traumatic stress program we just opened up too. That's one of the top in the nation. So if anybody out there that you know is going through post-traumatic stress due to post 9/11 stuff, like, hit us up, go to the website, fill out the application, and come be a part of it. It's all free to anybody that wants to do it.
Clearly,
and, you know,
so much of what.
Yeah,
go ahead, Travis.
Sorry. No, I was just saying, like, that's what we do. You know, it's a lot of fun, and I'm fortunate. And my speaking company is, you know, still been able to do like this, like virtual. So that's not bad, but I miss being on the road a little bit.
I'm sure. So clearly,
for the camera, you know, it works out.
The hair for it too, Travis. For us, we were joking around backstage. You know, it's so clear that when you were finishing up your recovery, and I'm sure it's a lifelong battle, but you started realizing your impact. Right, you're having it on your family, you're having it on other folks who are recovering, you're having it on the larger community, sharing your message. So you start realizing, you know what, telling my story can really help people and change people's lives. So catch us up a little bit. You talked about the nonprofit. How did this translate into the entrepreneurial world? Because now what Jenna was doing the research, you're absolutely doing many things in businesses, new areas that you didn't have experience in before. So how did this translate into business? And catch us up a little bit about what you've been working on.
Well, you know, it's just like the bomb. I just stumbled upon a lot of things. Just walked right into a lot of them. I didn't know what I was doing. So, no, that's just true. Like the nonprofit idea, we just started around a kitchen table in Texas, and we started small with care packages. And I was like, you know what? I want to send peppered beef jerky, gummy bears, Orbit gum, and peanut butter M&Ms, and anything Hillshire Farms with pepper jack cheese and spicy mustard and salami and crackers. Because that's what I wanted in my care packages. You know, and then we started doing stuff with families, and we did a proof of concept here, proof of concept there, and then we bought a facility, really bad disrepair. Like Elizabeth Arden used to own it. She's a cosmetic pioneer. Back in her day, like 1929, she built this place, and it was in really bad shape, but we bought it, we renovated it. We didn't have the money to renovate it, so I went around speaking and got people to donate after they had me speak, and now we're doing very well. I went on my boat to get gas one day at a marina, and the owner came out. I was like, "Hey, Travis, you should buy this place." And I was like, "Why?" And he said, "Well, look at the P&Ls." No idea what that meant. So I drank whiskey with my neighbor, and we decided to buy that place. And my mom and dad would run that. So that's one of my businesses. It's called Lakeside Lodge and Marina. We put a cafe in. We added 3 times the boat slips. We have 108 boat slips right now. I bought a few properties next door to that. You guys think I got a lot of money? I don't. I got a lot of debt, lots of debt. But everything costs an arm and a leg, so I already paid. And I'm part owner of an insurance company, like a short-term, long-term disability, cancer plans, you know, the unexpected stuff. And they're like, basically like I'm a billboard, right? Like, you're the billboard of, you know, life's unexpected, you know, things that happen. So I'm part of CBU Benefits. My Travis Mills Group LLC is my speaking. And then I actually just signed a collaborative author to write another book on resiliency and how I got better. And I think we're calling it Bounce Back. So I'm pretty fired up about that. But, you know, I do tell people there's 2 things in life that I like to share. Because I know that, not that you guys are like on a time crunch, but I know 35 minutes was kind of where we capped. The 2 life lessons I always share with everybody I talk to is what got me through is, number 1, don't dwell on the past, just reminisce it. I used to sit in my hospital bed and I would close my eyes and I'd hope and I'd wish and I'd pray this never happened. And I'd ask, how do I go back in time? And no matter how many times I closed my eyes and how many times I thought like, okay, this is it, I'm going to wake up from this nightmare, I'd open my eyes and I'd have no arms and legs. And I realized that instead of dwelling on what happened, just reminisce. I had 25 great years with arms and legs. And I've had this, as of Saturday, I'll have 9 years that have been pretty phenomenal. I'll be honest. And since I can't change anything, just be thankful that I'm still here. And I got a lot of friends that make it back home. That's my perspective piece. You know, they didn't get to come back to their family. I did. And the next thing I tell people is you can't always control your situation, but you can always control your attitude. My situation doesn't change. When I wake up in the morning, I have no legs on, no arms on, and I'm laying in my bed. I jump in my wheelchair, right? I get my arm, it's on a charger. I pop it on. It's like a cell phone charger type deal. I go make coffee for myself, make my wife's coffee. My kids come down. My wife comes down, and we go about our day. I take my daughter to school. I head to whatever meeting or conference call or whatever, and nothing changes because I'm in control of my attitude. And I think attitude really as corny as it is, everybody says it, but it really is everything. And the beauty is I don't see myself as handicapped as everybody else. So when people look at me, I tell them, look, we all got problems. We all have something maybe we're facing. My story is no better than yours. I'm no worse off than anybody else. And if my story can help, check me out, on Instagram and Facebook at SSG Travis Mills. I do a lot of fun videos, and I'm just here to have a good time. And people need a little bit of inspiration. You can always look at me if you want.
Don't dwell in the past. We can only control our attitude, not the situation. Travis Mills, man, we're having a ton of fun. We could do this forever. Congratulations to you on the new book. You know that you got your 2 first pre-orders right here, and thousands more coming from our tribe behind us. But Travis, man, if I'm walking away, one, I'm going to run through walls after this. So I'm not walking away. I'm sprinting into walls after this. But I want to tell you, thank you on behalf of everybody in the Next Gen family for doing you and telling your story, right? Of course, just the action of making through and being here today, that says it all. 10th of April, you're Alive Day. Happy Alive Day. Unreal, man. But you're spreading the story and giving us what we need to get that momentum to keep going. That's what it's all about, man. We appreciate you tons.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks, guys, so much. It's been fun. Thanks for bringing the energy. I drink a coffee, but you guys actually pumped me up more than that coffee. I did get sweet cream cold brew, though. They're delicious.
And Next Gen fam, make sure to follow Travis on IG. We'll be sharing more about your book. Travis Mills, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Grateful for you, man.
Wow, man. Wow. Absolutely no doubt.
Man?
I mean, you have to blur this out, but that was my favorite interview you've ever done, man.
We don't play favorites.
you gotta blur it out.
He's my favorite.
JB, get this cut. Next cut.
Post production, we're gonna have to cut that out. Travis Mills, man, what an inspiration! Wow. Oh my goodness, man!
Oh my God, incredible. Also, the guy's hilarious. He's absolutely hilarious, and I love. He does it more for others to disarm them. He's like, don't. I mean, he's still taking care of everybody else. Still taking care of everybody else.
Unreal. So well said. He is doing that. And of course, I'm sure he's probably a funny guy, enjoys it too, and getting our reactions. Yeah. But think about that. He's putting others first. He's a quadriplegic putting everyone else first. I don't want to say that. He's not out here saying, Dylan, what excuse do you have? But what excuse do we have? Right? How blessed.
I do not care how bad your day was. If you do not change your attitude after watching that, like remove yourself from the Next Gen fam. These are not part of our tribe. We will definitely be linking all of Travis' info in the show notes, and we'll be sure to share his new book, Next Gen Fam. We want to know what you're doing. Travis also an incredible guy, so reach out to him. You want to collab on businesses. He's doing a lot of stuff. But huge thank you once again to Craig, to Kelsey, to Travis for being part of this. Our team, Jenna, Angel, Jayreen, JV, AF, my man, being here as well. Much love, Next Gen fam. That was incredible, and I think this one will be one for the books.
Talk about a boost momentum, team. We will catch you back here Thursday afternoon with our next live momentum audio recording. Until next time, Travis, look him up. Jay, we'll catch you back soon. Peace out, team.
Be well, guys.